Hey, what's up, guys? This is MTG Tournament Grinder, and once again, I have my good friend Simon with me.
Hi there, guys. Let's see. I was playing Abzan against Tom on Goblins.
This is another match from the night when I filmed Simon playing Abzan, and we just happened to get paired up.
That's right, here in round 3.
So it looks like I have well, what more could I ask for, really? I played a 1-drop on turn 1. That's kind of what my deck does, so it's hard to say. Ooh, Scavenging Ooze, though.
Yeah, so unfortunately my hand didn't have any hand disruption in it. I'd like turn 1 Inquisition would probably be the best play I could do, but I kept the hand knowing that Scavenging Ooze is really, really good against Goblins. Not only does it gain you a ton of life, because the Goblins deck, if you're playing your game plan right, the Goblins deck will end up with a bunch of Goblins in their graveyard, and Scavenging Ooze only needs to really eat 2 of them to eat most of the creatures in Tom's deck, and also not get hit by Lightning Bolt.
Right. Any amount of life gain is really bad. And but honestly, just a 2/2 blocker that
3/3.
stops.
Yeah, 3/3 or 4/4.
Right.
Yeah.
It gets worse as it goes, but even at what it starts at, the 2/2, it's like most of my deck can't swing comfortably now.
Yep. So Tom's getting real aggressive here. Goblin grenade to the face.
Yeah, it seems like too aggressive, like it's kind of a bad play to do it this early, but I can see just a little bit of the Flame of Keld in my hand. So I'm assuming that I'm trying to empty my hand in preparation for Flame of Keld. There's one other card, I can't tell what it is.
It's a pile driver.
Oh, I see. So maybe playing Flame of Keld and discarding Pile Driver was incorrect. I'm just really excited about playing the card. I think it was new on this day of filming. Oh, jeez. Into an Abrupt Decay. Well,
Alright, go ahead.
yeah, I don't think the card's very good, honestly. Well,
Yep. Being able to answer it or blow it up can be a big blowout. How many times did you try it out? You tried it out for a couple nights?
yeah, I think I played it for a solid week, so 3 or 4 nights.
Yeah.
And
Decided it's not good.
anytime I resolved it, I would lose before it got to go off, or it would just get countered, or blown up by an Abrupt Decay. I feel like my deck is just trying to win before I'm even able to play it, really. Not very conducive to my deck's play style.
Yep. Better to build your deck to win by the time that Flame of Keld would be good.
Exactly, like that's what it's trying to do, or whatever.
Or possibly Bomat Courier, since it goes along with your game plan of putting down creatures really quickly and then pumping them.
And still draws you cards.
And still gets that card advantage, which is what we
that's true.
were looking for in Flame of Keld.
Right.
It's just too slow.
It looks like another Grimflayer, a forest, and I can't be sure.
I think it's another land. I'm super land starved right now, and I probably have like a Siege Rhino or Lingering Souls in my hand. So being stuck on 2 really sucks. So I'm happily putting the lands. I'm going land, and then Grimflayer just because it's another threat. But
Seems right.
after having played the deck all night, I've decided that Grimflayer is not good in it. The deck doesn't get Delirium super easily, so often it's just a 2/2 4/2 that occasionally lets you just look at the top 3 cards of your library. Here I didn't even put any in my graveyard. I just looked at them and I'm like, oh, well, seems good.
Yeah.
Put them back.
And it's kind of a non-bow with Scavenging Ooze, is you're trying to develop a graveyard.
Or it's a combo though, because then you look at 3 creatures in your on top of your library and toss them all in the graveyard, and then exile all of them.
That is true. Depending on how you look at it, it's a non-bow for getting Delirium, but it's certainly a combo for feeding the Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah. All in all, I'd say, I don't know, play something else.
Yeah.
Play more Tireless Trackers, or I don't have the deck list in front of me, but I'm sure there's a better green creature.
And I was empty-handed and just top-decked a mountain, so that's just a little too much. So once you're empty-handed and your opponent resolves a Liliana of the Veil, you kind of need to have an answer real quick. And he already had plenty of blockers. I think that was just game over.
Yeah, essentially. Okay, so Abzan is like a grindy deck. So once we're both top decking cards, the Abzan deck is going to win. because my top decks are more powerful generally than yours, but yours are cheaper. That's like the trade-off between our decks, you know.
So I can play like 3 spells on turn 3.
Yeah.
But by the time we're both top decking, as you say, it's like now you're playing Siege Rhinos.
Yeah, and Lilianas and stuff.
Well, we'll have to see how this goes after some sideboarding. Alrighty, so as for the sideboard, Goblins is going to bring in 2 Blood Moons and 2 Leyline of Punishments. The Blood Moon I feel is pretty obvious. If I can play it on turn 3, it's going to be pretty impactful.
Abzan's mana base is pretty greedy. It's pretty much split 3 ways because of the Paths, Siege Rhinos, Lingering Souls. So Blood Moon is really good against 3-color decks. It could just win the game on turn 3.
Right. Yeah, against these 3-color decks that rely on their fetches and shocks is where Blood Moon really shines.
Yeah.
The only other 2 cards I'm bringing in, Leyline of Punishments. So I have 2 copies of the card, and it affects Scavenging Use because of its activated ability that gains you life, Siege Rhino for its ETB, and then Kalitas, post-sideboard anyways, because it has lifelink. So I think that's a total of 9 cards for the 2 copies of Leyline of Punishment. So I feel like it's worth bringing it in this particular matchup.
Yeah, that and it's free if it's in your opener, so it doesn't even slow you down.
Right. As for my outs, I did take out both copies of Flamekeld. I saw it in game 1, I played it, but against a deck like Abzan, where he's got main board permanent removal that he can use to target my enchantments, I really doubt Flame of Keld is ever going to go off. It would have to sit on the battlefield untouched for 3 turns, which seems nigh impossible.
Yeah, hitting Flamekeld with Abrupt Decay is just such a blowout.
Oh god, it felt terrible in game 1.
Especially after discarding, whatever may be in your hand. In this case, it was a Pile Driver.
And speaking of, actually, Pile Driver was the other 2 cards that I took out. So, instead of having identifiable bad cards in this matchup, and then finding cards on my sideboard to bring in, it's kind of the opposite. It's like, I have these good cards that I know are powerful, and now what on earth do I take out? So, it's likely Goblin Pile Driver is not the best card to take out, but it's a 2-drop, again, against a deck with tons of removal. So I'm probably just going to play it on turn 2. It doesn't have haste. It's going to get removed. It's going to feel bad.
Yep.
But I think that's about it for the Goblin sideboard. So, Simon, why don't you tell me about your Abzan sideboard plans?
Alright, 2 Damnations. Goblins can spring back from a Damnation pretty well, but it can be backbreaking, depending on their next draws and how late in the game it is. And you can really get some value from it. Beyond that, we have Maelstrom Pulse. Once again, there's a lot of redundancy in this deck. It's going to be at least a 2-for-1. At the time, I actually made a bit of a mistake, as you'll see. Maelstrom Pulse can hit tokens. I didn't realize that. But it can absolutely hit like 4 Goblin tokens, which is amazing here. I also brought in a Kalitas. It's a great blocker. It gains a ton of life.
And its clause about if a creature your opponent controls would die, exile it instead, and you put a 2/2 zombie onto the battlefield. If you were getting 2-for-1 value out of every 1-for-1 exchange, then oh my goodness, you're going to get so far ahead.
And that's what this deck's game plan is exactly. 1-for-1 exchange. So it fits the game plan of the deck super well, and just makes all my spells way better.
Oh yeah.
Fatal Push, 1 mana, kill your thing, make a 2/2. Like, whoa.
Whoa indeed. Jeez. Well, I guess that about wraps it up for the sideboarding action. So let's see how things go in game 2. Alrighty, we're back in game 2, and it looks like I am on a mull to 5, which is really not good for this deck, but out of all the 1-drops to play, I think Foundry Street Denizen is not a bad one.
Oh yeah, great start. Tom's going to show me the best way to play Goblins on a mull to 5.
Yeah, it's definitely a part of the nut hand, so to speak.
Yep. The nut draw, yeah.
It doesn't have haste, so it's not very flashy as soon as you play it. But here, 1 trigger, and if I have another 1-drop, which I do, 2 triggers.
Boom, it's Wild Mikado.
So 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's swinging for 6 first strike trample on turn 2. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's really good. So I'm fetching and using my lands without hurting myself as effectively as I can, because as you can see, I'm already at 13. So I got to be really careful. And I know that Tom plays Blood Moon in his sideboard, and my deck is obviously a good choice to bring Blood Moon in against. So I'm trying to play around it with the planes there.
Right. Like if I go Mountain Blood Moon right now, that Plains is going to feel good. And alas, I do not. You dodged a bullet. Although I think that was my last opportunity, so to speak, to play a lightning bolt to kill the Goyf. You already had a land in the graveyard. Once I cast a lightning bolt, that's 2 card types, so that makes Goyf a 2/3.
Yep.
So if there's any more card types in the graveyard, the bolt would have only added to them.
Yeah.
It's kind of tricky. The first time that was pointed out to me, I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah, I'd have to get a sorcery in the yard in order to get Delirium. Or no, not even. So 3? Oh, no, yeah. To get Delirium. And that's another reason why I think Grimflayer is not good in this deck.
Right, and I could be wrong, but I think actually that Delirium only checks your own graveyard.
Oh, really?
Whereas Tarmogoyf checks all graveyards. So it's
yeah.
even like worse or harder to turn on, definitely.
God, that's terrible. Don't play Grimflayer in your Abzan decks. Set it here. Unless you're playing artifacts.
Oop, I hit your Scavenging Ooze there. Target Scavenging Ooze gains flying. Oh, Liliana, the last hope. That's the better Liliana in this matchup.
Yep.
That Scavenging Ooze is gonna be a problem. That's good. Because it's currently a 3/3.
Yep. I'm a little choked on mana. If I could activate Ooze one more time, then it would be safe from a bolt. But right now, it could easily just be bolted.
Oh, and there it is, actually.
Yep.
5 to the face and then 3 more to finish you off.
Yep. Not a lot of chance in that game.
Yeah. A fast start from Goblins, even on a mold of 5.
Yeah.
Up against no hand disruption, no early removal. It's tough.
Yeah, so that was like the nut draw for Goblins.
Yeah. If those same cards were a part of my 7, I would still say the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that those cards were all a part of a mold of 5 is just like, whoa. Good job, deck. Good job, little deck.
Well, you played it well.
Oh, thank you. Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens in this final tiebreaker, Game 3.
Yeah. Game 3.
And we are back for Game 3. Darn, mold of 6 again. Didn't keep 7. But that's okay. Temple Garden Pass is not so bad.
Yep. Not seeing a lot of hand disruption this match.
It really looked out in that way.
Yeah.
But usually against decks that have playsets of hand disruption, it's like, okay. You're looking at your opening hand thinking, how good is this minus the 2 best cards? Or at least the 1 best card.
Yeah.
You know? Uh-oh.
Must have just drawn it.
Must have, yeah. So only 1 more mountain. So it looks like I kept a 2-lander, which is ideal.
Now I think I have a Maelstrom Pulse in my hand, but otherwise I don't have a lot of super efficient removal. So Pile Driver is going to be an issue. So I think that's why I take it. Otherwise, if I had a Fatal Push or something in my hand, I'd rather take the Mog War Marshal, just because it makes them multiple bodies. It can be harder to deal with.
But because it's a Maelstrom Pulse, wait for him to dissolve into 2 separate...
Yeah.
Into 2 goblins, and then just Maelstrom Pulse them both.
Yeah.
Right, I see.
Unfortunately, at the time, I had gotten confused with some other card, but I've heard before that some certain card can't target tokens, and in this game, I thought it was Maelstrom Pulse. I thought that like maybe tokens didn't have a name or something, but as it turns out, their name is their subtype, so they're just named Goblin.
Right, it's the way Maelstrom Pulse is worded. It's like destroy each non-land permanent and each other one that shares a name with it or whatnot.
Yeah.
The name is what's important.
Yeah, and I think I had it confused with another card that mentions cards specifically, and tokens aren't cards.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I had an opportunity to Maelstrom your Pulse. I had an opportunity to Maelstrom Pulse multiple goblins a couple times this game, but because I didn't realize I could target goblins, I made decisions that were
less than ideal, perhaps.
Non-optimal. Suboptimal.
I mean, if you couldn't hit tokens, they were the optimal choices. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. The tokens
Right.
are pretty much always the right choice.
When I have like 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I knew that right now, I'd be happily thinking about how your War Marshal is about to turn into another goblin, and then I could just hit 4 goblins with it and be super happy.
4 for 1.
Yeah, great place. You know, really, it's a 2 for 1, but
Yeah, because it's only 2 Mog War Marshals.
yeah,
That's true.
but it's so dangerous because of the reckless bushwhackers to have that many 1/1s on the table.
That many like separate red sources.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think Flame of Keld is still in my main deck. Like, I think I took it out post sideboard.
Mm-hmm.
But still, having that many separate red sources is still powerful.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep dropping the 1-drops. I wonder what my 2 face down cards are. I'm hopefully a Reckless Bushwhacker, and I'm just waiting to draw my 3rd mana so that I can or a 1-drop
Yeah.
Reckless Bushwhacker.
That's what it is. Yeah, reckless bushwhacker.
Nice. That I will admit that happens a lot. You find yourself in the position where it's like, if this was just a Goblin Bushwhacker and I could go red,
Yeah.
I'd be off to the races. But because it's a 3-drop, whether you hardcast it for 3 or you have to play a 1-drop first, it takes 3 mana, and it can feel bad sometimes.
Yep. However, it does work amazing with Burning Tree Emissary.
Yes.
Yeah. It before the addition of Burning Tree Emissary, the Goblin Bushwhacker was obviously just the better version of Reckless Bushwhacker, because you don't need another card.
Right.
But with the addition of Burning Tree Emissary, you can't go Burning Tree Emissary into Goblin Bushwhacker, unfortunately, because you need red, and BTE gives you red-green.
Right.
So now suddenly Reckless Bushwhacker is like the better Bushwhacker.
Going like triple Burning Tree Emissary into a Reckless Bushwhacker.
Oh yeah, that's like nuts. The craziest start you could have, really.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. I don't know if I've managed to record it quite yet. But yeah, that is what you're hoping to do with this deck. So what did I draw? Well, Speak of the Devil. That's what we were talking about. Burning Tree Emissary
Great
into Reckless Bushwhacker. Because that really was like the only thing I could have drawn. If I drew him a land, I can't Surge him still. I can just play him for 3 as a 2/1. And if I draw a creature, I still don't have 3 mana. So that was kind of the only top deck I had open to me.
So here, because I didn't Maelstrom Pulse those goblins, and instead I hit the 2 Legion Loyalists, I'm taking 4 more damage than I should have.
Right.
Because I'm still getting 2 1/1s off the table, but I could have gotten 4 1/1s off the table. Now they're all 2/1s.
And thusly, you're taking 4 more damage than you otherwise would have.
Exactly.
They would all have trample and first strike, but against your 3/4 Goyf that you're blocking with,
Yeah.
that would be indifferent.
Not to mention, only 3 creatures would get through. Your board would be a lot less wide, so you may not have even made the attack in the first place.
Right.
Staring down those 2 Goyfs.
You can't just subtract the numbers after the fact. It changes the entire board.
Yeah. Changes your possible decisions.
Well, I've got a couple of top decks open to me. Goblin Guide. Goblin Grenade.
Bolt would be good enough on this board.
Right, because I'm wide enough.
Really, it's like, I need something right now, because I'm dead on board.
Let's see. If you go...
Not much better after fetching, but I have a Lingering Souls in my hand.
I was about to say, I thought I saw that in there. Lingering Souls, Flashback, Lingering Souls, and you're almost as wide as my board.
Exactly as wide, yeah.
And that is not good for me. Couldn't quite see what I drew there, but I know there's one more Reckless Bushwhacker. Yeah, it's like whenever you play him for Surge, it's a 2-drop, but you can't forget that it really is a 3-drop, yeah, because you have to play something else first.
Yep. So not really any plays, so you just pass.
Yeah. I was unable to turn on the Bushwhacker. I'm feeling a little dead in the water. That Lingering Souls, I went from feeling like I'm going to win no matter what happens, to like, oh no, I may not win after all.
Once again, here we go. I don't realize you can hit the goblin tokens. If I hit the goblin tokens here, it's game over.
Right, I think so.
I have more than stabilized. I can just start beating in with the 2 goifs and have 4 blockers to his 2 attackers. But instead, I make the decision, I'm going to play to win instead of trying not to lose, and I'm going to start getting in damage because I'm dead to a bolt. I'm dead to a goblin grenade. Rather than give Tom a bunch of outs, I'm going to try to close the game out.
And I think that's right. It's like if you already are essentially dead to top decks.
Yeah.
It's like I'm dead anyways. I might as well just push and hope my opponent stumbles and has a bad top deck.
Yeah.
I think that's the right play.
Yep. So Tom tries to go wide. I have an Abrupt Decay.
And I think after the Abrupt Decay, we're pretty much tit for tat. What one thing it looks like we'll get through. You have 3 tokens to my 4. Yikes. It's not quite as impactful as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that Abrupt Decay was the difference.
Right.
Because I was dead on board, or so it seemed, you know.
Yeah, but just one more token got through. One more anything.
Yeah. So here's pretty much any draw from Tom besides a mountain is game over. So once again, rather than play to not lose, I'm going to play to win. So I could just pass and give Tom more draws, or once again I can start beating in.
Right.
Just hoping that he's going to draw a Foundry Street Denizen, a
mountain would be ideal.
mountain, yeah.
But what you didn't need me to draw was haste.
Right, exactly.
And indeed I did.
So, there you go.
Well,
Play Maelstrom Pulse correctly. Yeah.
and don't play Grimflayer.
Don't play Grimflayer, yeah, for sure.
Despite mulliganing to 5 in Game 2, and also to 6 in Game 3, Mono Red Goblins is nothing if not consistent. And I just had some good draws and ended up getting there in the end.
This was a really close match, and it was a lot of fun to play. I really enjoyed playing with my friend Tom. The deck was super clunky, with 4 drops and 3 drops. I'd usually look down at my hand and be like, ugh, nothing but 3 drops. And I have to like be really careful about which lands I fetch.
Right.
Which is pretty challenging. It can be fun if you enjoy that kind of like brain scratcher. It's like a little puzzle finding out which mana you need.
I was totally bad at that puzzle when I tried to play it.
Yeah.
I was fetching and shocking, and it was no good.
Yeah. So if you're gonna play this deck, you want to get 2 black, as much green as you possibly can, and only 1 white is usually good.
You want the 2 black for Lily.
Yeah.
As much green as possible for Scoos, or just all your spells, pretty much.
That's right. Yeah.
And the 1 white
For Lingering Souls Path.
Yeah, because you're not going to have more than one of those to play on a turn.
Yeah, maybe
likely.
Lingering Souls Path, but...
Well, that was a lot of fun. As usual, if you did enjoy the video, you can let me know in the comments below, or by hitting that subscribe button. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for watching.